So RD, how strong is the mind?
Well, it depends the person. but the mind is your strongest tool, your best tool. You know, your mind controls what your body does and controls everything. So it's important that you take good care of it and use it to the best possible. You know.
Yeah. It's interesting. I remember when I was actually, you know, I worked out pretty hard. As you know, I probably overdid it as a rookie, but I felt like at one point I was the fittest guy out there, but I didn't believe in myself. You know, like I didn't, you know, I had all the tools, but I was missing that last bit of believing in myself. And it really wasn't until actually 2015, and you said it again, it's like, if you don't do anything else, you gotta believe in yourself. And so I really worked on, all right, I gotta believe in myself. I gotta see myself getting the whole shot and all those things. And when I started mentally, that mental toughness kind of came into that mental strength that you were teaching me. It was life-changing, you know. It's like once you did it once, it was like it's the hardest point is the first time.
Getting over that,
yeah.
Yeah, you can train your mind, you know, and you can you just like at the top level. Try to get the most out of your body. It's not going to be comfortable, so you need to train your mind and your body at being uncomfortable and be normal with it, be okay with being uncomfortable. And everybody, you mind tells you to give up before you real limit of your body, you know. So if you can, instead of giving up at 60% or 50% like most people, by training you can get that up to 80, 90%. Olympic guys like you know, you get close to that limit. You know, of course, if you have no reserve, then you know that's finished. You're dead. You know, but yeah, the best athletes, they can go to within a few percent of their physical limit.
Like just push it to that point where they're.
I remember there was a study done in Japan with the Olympic team, and I think they came up with numbers of 90% for top Olympics.
Really?
Guys, and the average person was in between 50 and 60. You know, your mind tells you, hey, take it easy, you know, it's too much. But really, you can go so much farther, you know.
I believe it.
I think it was in the 1980s, there was an Olympic Japanese gymnast that he did his routine with a broken ankle, and he still got gold. But that's how tough the guy was.
That shows how strong the mind is. Wow.
You're never going to get a dirt bike to run exactly how you want it to. There's always going to be compromises, and that's the same with changes on the bike. It's the same when you're riding it. But growing up as a kid, the fact of the matter is, as soon as I learned to shut off the mind, as far as shut off how I thought the bike felt and how it could be better, and I started to focus on, well, what can I do to make it better? You know, I started looking at myself. How can I be a better rider? How can I improve on things? What line choices can I take? How can I jump the bumps, and instead of just bulldogging it through the bumps and letting it kick me, well, how can I jump it and make it fun? I mean, these are all simple mindset changes that I had to make. And ultimately, it wasn't the bike that was that wasn't working properly. The reason I wasn't winning, it was me. I was holding myself back. I was keeping myself from becoming all that I was created to be. The beauty with our sport is that it isn't all the bike. You know, a lot of it is us. A lot of it, you can make those changes. I mean, whether you're 6 foot or 5'4", you have legs. Those act as suspension. You know, the way you approach bumps, how you handle corners, where you stand up. I mean, you can adjust so much on the bike and make so many changes yourself that ultimately will get you the results that you're looking for. So when you keep that attitude and you have fun and you remember why you're doing it and you have a passion for it, I mean, there's kind of, you know, the results will start to come easily. One example of being mentally tough was for me in a track in 2008. I actually won my first pro outdoor national event on the 250 class. And I remember the first race I got second. It was a close second. I almost had won the race. But the second race, it was myself and Villapoto. We were racing each other. And I remember that I was leading pretty much the whole race, and he was right on my heels. And I remember I was suffering so much physically. I felt it, and I just kept telling myself, I'm like, just stay strong, just be there. If I'm feeling it, he's got to feel it too. You know, if I'm struggling physically, I bet he is as well. And sure enough, I kept one lap at a time. I just took one lap at a time, and I didn't quite know how much further I was going to make it until I broke him. I couldn't believe it. We have 2 laps to go, about 2 laps. And he fell off the back, and I was able to kind of open up a gap and cruise in for victory. But I went further than I thought I could go. I underestimated what I could do, but I also stayed mentally tough and strong, and I kept pushing to the end, and it paid off. I didn't give in to how I felt or what was going on. I stayed strong and kept pushing through it, and the rewards were I won my first race. So it was a big moment. Another example of mental toughness was in Vegas of 2017. It was my last Supercross race and last professional race. There were a couple things going into that race. Obviously, 9 points. I had a 9-point lead, and obviously staying mentally tough to win the championship. But also, I knew that night that I couldn't finish worse than 4th. That if Tomac won, I had to be either 4th or better, and that's heavy. You know, that's a lot of expectation. That's a lot of pressure. The whole week going into it, I was thinking about it a lot, but when the gate dropped, I just tried to focus on executing and giving it my best. But little did I know it was going to be one of the races, one of the craziest races of my life, and guys are running into me, and we were battling all the way to the end. And to be able to stay in the moment, that was the hardest thing. I constantly wanted to get ahead of myself and think about the championship and winning the championship, but I couldn't. I had to stay in the moment, and mentally that was so hard to do. But I was able to, and I was able to stay strong, and we were able to finish out the race. But what was even more mentally challenging for me in that time was the state of mind that I was in. That burnout feeling that I was going through. I was really struggling with a lot of things at the time. I was trying to cope with it all, the stresses of racing and everything like that. But there's going to be a lot of moments in our careers and times where you feel like giving up, and you feel like, gosh, you're ready to throw in the towel. But right on the other side of that is you're about to break through, and that's why you need to stay so strong. And I was able to stay strong. I was able to keep going through it. I was able to see it all the way through the end. Even when I was so tired, physically, mentally, I was so exhausted, but I stayed mentally tough, and I gave it my best, and I didn't give up.